Let's build.
Get camera, get with it, this man shit. Real power is people. Big, I tell you little secret, it's a secret. Government, they worship an owl. They practice witchcraft power. Pedophiles rape little kids for energy. It's satanic ritual. W2C.
Yo, let the prophet speak, man. The prophet prodigy, man. You understand what I'm telling you? I'll tell you a little story. Me and my man Jess, we in coffee house with two baddies. There's no more seats. There's no more rooms, and the coffee house booths are big, right? And in walks P with a baddie himself. And we decide, all right, one of my shorties knew that the shorty he was with. We all sat at the table, and you know, it was almost like the girls were speaking for us. Like, yeah, he knows, he reads those crazy books you read too. And we started talking. And he told me these things. He was clear with his. And I didn't believe. I was still a neoliberal then. I went from being in the 5% Nation, reading theory and all the books coming up. Because I gravitated to that line of people. I wanted to be around the smart people. I wanted to be around the well-read people. That's how I ended up making friends with a lot of people who are in the music, because a lot of them, they're good rappers because of the books they read. Prodigy was talking about Bohemian Grove and all these other things, and I was like, they just create that to try to scare us, And I was so wrong. When you grow old, it's a privilege to grow old. It's a beautiful thing, and you have to embrace it. You can't be old pretending you're young. You can't be old acting like young people. What is all your travels gone through for you to not learn anything? For you to not make mistakes and correct yourself, right? That's why Africans are in the mess that we are in, because we take the wrong people for role models. What have we seen in the last couple of days with this Iran mess? We've seen two negotiation tables. The first one being before the 12-day war, or what they now call the 12-day war. They better hope this one don't go 12 days. We've only gone 48 hours, and it's a mess. Even the media now can't block how disastrous this whole thing is. And they keep trying to find someone to get Iran to do a ceasefire. You want a ceasefire now? You reaching out to Italy, and the Melonia woman, she's asking her, you know, could you talk to him? You cool with them still? Can you talk to him? Could you tell him to stop punching me in my head? African people. Who are your role models, African people? Who are you watching? Who are you observing, right? They keep trying to tell you that Iran is a theocratic entity. No, they are that second. That's their number 2 motivator. Khomeini, who they murdered in cold blood, a brave man, 87 years old. They feel like this how ignorant bloodthirst makes you. That's how ignorant ultimate power, the pursuit of ultimate power makes you. They taught all of the American people that this was that Khomeini was some kind of bumbling tyrant. All the jokes in the movies, all the caricatures of this man. This man was brilliant. You think the people who created chess are stupid? A 7,000-year uninterrupted identity, 3,000 years of history documented, and that's who you decide that you want to pick a war with? You deserve what you get. You deserve what you get, and you know where it's coming from, because at the same time, you have the Epstein files that continuously are coming out more and more every day. They had 3.5 million more pages that came out today. It shows you who you're dealing with, and Prodigy got it right. Rest in peace. Salute to you. Salute to you, P. I'm just arguing in that spot. Like I knew something. And I read all of those books, and I poo-pooed them. I was like, nah, I don't believe it. I don't believe it. How dumb I was. Because everything they said came true. Right. Behold the Pale Horse, that book we were arguing about that night, I had read it too. We passed that book around like a blunt. My whole crew read it. And it was interesting, and people wanted to read it. Right? But when you come back to it, you pull away, you go, nah. Everything in that book has come true. And the things that it gets wrong is because William Cooper was so patriotic. The things that he got wrong stem from his patriotism. Nah, we'll never do that. We'll never kowtow to that. They did. Israel runs that crew now, right? Israel controls that crew now monetarily. The only person that's still fighting them is David Icke, and where he went wrong is in believing in them, right? Today we're going to talk about what Iran means to Pan-Africans. This is the jump-off point. This is the signaling point. This is the moment you figured out that the emperor has no clothes. I changed my mind. We're going to do it like this. This is just too wild. It's just too wild. All right, let's get busy. So to understand the Iran thing, we got to take a few steps back. To understand the Iran thing, we have to take a few steps back. And why is that? Because you have to understand the history, right? Iran is something that we don't even realize, but Iran has fought a revolution. They fought and won a revolution. The Ayatollah Khomeini, he was a member of that revolution. They fought to remove the Shah, the imposed monarchist Shah, right? To remove the Shah. Even the Shah of Iran tried to tell the Americans, like, I don't think it's a good idea that you're trying to do business with the Zionists, but hey, if it gets me back in power, who cares? They're gonna make him a monarch, right? These monarchs are created by the West, because you know why? Monarchs are easier to control. If they're the central of the government, you can destroy the entire things by just killing him, right? But Iran is a constitutional government. You weren't gonna kill one person or kill the two top. They've been killing people since Soleimani. Since General Soleimani, they have been killing them. And every time they tell people, chill, we're gonna try to work this out. They'll bomb someplace, just a safe place. They'll bomb a parking lot. They'll bomb an airstrip with no planes on it. They'll bomb something just so they can go back to the people and say, hey, we're not cowards. We're trying to get to the negotiation table. We're trying to not fight the largest army ever, the largest army ever assembled. The most expensive, it's not the best army. It's not the most strategic army. It is the most expensive army in the history of mankind. They're about to spend 1.5 trillion this year to just keep this thing up, right? And in order to do so, they're coming to Africa. Why are they in Nigeria? Because they have to get the essential minerals out of Nigeria. It's not just about the oil. The oil is in the south. The oil is in the south. The minerals are in the north. Minerals that Nigerians don't even really know that they have. Their news media is so bad and so corrupted by NGOs. USAID funds 90% of the mainstream media in Nigeria. Fact check me. The CIA and the USAID is the one that keeps Nigeria in disarray, because an intelligent people, right? I know it's a lot of times it's the best and the most affluent Nigerians that make it to the United States. I get that. They're still the smartest people I know. Okay? This is why it makes it so hard to argue with a Nigerian, with a neoliberal Nigerian, because they're brilliant. They're brilliant. They're athletic. They're funny. Some of the best people I know are Nigerian. Unfortunately, the East, the neoliberals know this too. They know to appeal to the best of them in order so that the West can rob the worst, or the worst is the wrong word to say, the ones they find no use for, because there's talent in there as well. If every high school in Nigeria had a perfect football pitch and a league and a system, Nigeria produced the most talent on earth, not just because of their genetics, but because of their size. So when you see them fighting for control of the uranium that is in Niger, that has told them that, hey, you could buy it, you could buy some of it, right? It's because that they don't want to pay for anything. They want it all. They want it control. And then they always find a traitor amongst us, a leader willing to sell out his people and then their media will portray it as something else or as something noble or bold. Africans, we have to evolve from this. We have to evolve from this pettiness, foolishness. You see it, the history is all there. Look at what's happening in Iran. They just did a deal. They broke the deal within 2 months. There is no treaties. There is no promises. There is no keeping your word with them. Not because I say it. Look at your history. Look at your history. To say that Iran is winning this war is unfair. There's no winner. There's not going to be any winners in this war. The United States opened up all of their weapons, a barrage of everything, because they wanted it to go quickly. They wanted to kill Khomeini. They wanted to assassinate him, assassinate all the generals around him, and believe that once the bombs started falling everywhere and in their main cities, there's 12 million people that live in Tehran, in the capital of Tehran, right? All those people do not deserve to be killed. But that's not even what they're thinking about. They want revenge. You kill their pope, basically. What the pope means to the Catholics, Khomeini means to the Shia. Did anyone give Trump's cabinet a history lesson? Did anyone tell them how this place works? It's not Nigeria. It's not Venezuela either, okay? Both of those countries are made up by colonists. This is Iran. This is Persia. These are the Persians. They know themselves. What Iran means to Pan-Africanism is pay attention. They're winning. They're winning because they understand themselves. They understand their history. They educate themselves. There are no American schools in Iran. Their 7,000 years of history is taught to their children. They know who they are. And even though you wanted to sell them promiscuity and short dresses, you want them to be like how Israel is. All of the pornography, all of a rabbi owns OnlyFans, right? A rabbi owns OnlyFans. Another rabbi is on television all the time with his daughter selling sex toys. A rabbi, right? That's not for me to question your society, but please don't question theirs. They're not with that. They don't want to imply the Western culture to theirs. And that saved them. That saved Iran. The fact that they didn't capitulate culturally. They'll say, oh, it's religion, it's theocracy, they've got the burqas and all that stuff. Like, listen, I've been doing my research. Not all Iranian women wear that. The ones that do choose to. And somehow we made a calculations in our mind that unless these women get to do what Cardi B and Nicki Minaj and Meg Thee Stallion do, then they're not free. They don't agree with you. They have their own culture. They have their own ideas. They don't want to accept anything from the infidels because they're infidels. When you have your own culture, you understand this. But the ignorance of Americans to think that you would kill Khomeini and they wouldn't have a system to replace him. That's ignorance. That's believing in this whole excellence thing that's not real, right? And then the next thing that's killing us is the fact that our media is trash. They're the worst. The Abraham Lincoln got hit. They've yet to report it. They've yet to report it. Why? Because they don't got their lives together yet. They haven't figured out how the hell are we gonna explain this L to the American people. And it's not an L yet. There's a lot of fighting to go, but it looks crazy. It looks crazy. And our media is not giving us any information. It looks crazy. When it came down to it, time to have a vote, the Democrats didn't want to do it. They didn't want to hold the vote. It's Monday. I don't know when I'm going to publish this. It's Monday. They still haven't done it. The war powers vote. And in the United States, for a president to go to war, he would have to get the Congress to vote yes for it, to approve it. He would have to go make his case to the Congress and to the American people, and they would vote. They haven't done that in years. They haven't done that in years. You know why? They haven't stopped the Republicans from doing it. It's because the Democrats do it too. Obama drone striked more people than any president ever. And he thought he was smart because he was like, hey, I'm not getting guys killed. It's not, the death toll isn't as much as in Iraq. The death toll in Iraq was like 4,000 American soldiers, right? So far, We're hearing 509 Americans have died, and the first 3 were of African descent. We always sending we always throwing a African body at their problems. We always have to be the crispest addicts of this shit. When are you gonna be tired of this? When are you gonna be tired of this? And we send them off to fight, and when we bring them back here, we call them DEI hires, which is code for the N-word. Nothing has changed. Our material circumstances haven't changed. Our seeking justice hasn't changed. They get mad. Oh, you're gonna give black people a helping hand with? No, we'll take you to the Supreme Court and win, and we will defund your programs. Go conquer a nation and come back to us and tell us about privilege. You're not getting privilege over here. We conquered this place. We are the ones that get the privilege, not you. And in the meantime, I'm listening to Africans on social media. Shame on you. Y'all talking about FBA and delineating. If you're not paying attention, what the fuck you gonna delineate to? You think this thing is forever. You think this thing can't be beat. You are a fool. You are a fool. It's not gonna be us that defeats it. We're not gonna be the ones. This thing is going to implode. That's all it could do. Like, you can't pay back 39 trillion in debt. You can't pay that back. You cannot. This is made up shit. You're gonna print all that money to do what? Spend it on more wars, trying to gain more power? Where does that work? Where does that work? Where has that worked? Show me the history. These empires all fall. And usually it's not because of military power, it's because of the rot and the corruption and the comfort. You go on to fight guys who've lived under sanctions their whole life. They've been cursing America under their breath their entire lives because they understand what they've done to them. It's not like Haiti, where they give us sanctions and they kidnap our presidents, then tell us, oh, we had to do that. You guys were tripping. And then some Haitians go, you know what? We were tripping. My shit falling. Oh, we should not still be that ignorant. The same way every Haitian knows that Hillary and Bill Clinton are evil. Those are our Hitler in Haiti. Haitians hate unanimously. Haitians hate Hillary and Bill Clinton, who has kidnapped their president, ruined our agriculture in Haiti, right? Assassinated presidents, installed their guy. We're fools if we continue this way, if we don't open our eyes, if we don't look at this Iran thing as for what it is. It is signs. This thing can be beat, right? 509 casualties as I speak to you on this Monday morning. After 48 hours, they didn't bomb them it hasn't even been 48 hours. My calculations is wrong. Well, yeah, it's we're getting there. 40. They're taking out military bases. I'm watching them blow up military bases all throughout the Middle East, and I'm wondering to myself, could you please take out the ones in Somalia and Sudan? It's all about the Strait of Hormuz, right? Right? Why do you think these bastards over in the UAE, who's been funding us to fight each other like knuckleheads, and we take the money and we take the weapons and we shoot and we kill our own brothers and sisters for greed? It happens because of desperation, which is why I always say we do the currency first, because if we remove the desperation, you will have less traders. You will have less guys that just goes to the other side. You're always going to have them. There are plenty of traders in our midst. I would say 20%. I would say 20% are traders. Doesn't stop our flow, not even one bit, because Iran had traders too. What did they do? They out-educated them. The Israelis bombed a school with children, filled with children, because these are dishonorable people. Not because of the bombing, the timing of the bombing. Right? Some of the leaders of Iran had children in those schools. So what they thought was, while America had Iran at the negotiating table and they wasn't paying attention, they would kill the leaders. They knew where they were, and they knew that some of them had kids in those schools. They bombed them, and after they bombed them, they thought they would fall apart from there. The government would fall apart because it didn't have leadership. Now that would work if if your leader was a despot, if your people didn't love your leader, right? If your people didn't love their leader, it would have worked. But the lack of education, they have thousands of Mossad agents in Iran right now, and they couldn't tell that story. They couldn't. They were so in a rush, so in a belief in their ability to destroy and kill. And with America on their side, they would not be able to be defeated. But guess what's happened, right? Guess what's happened? How do I want to do this? Here's the effects of this war. The effects of the war is, one, you already was leaking weapons. Your cupboard is looking empty right now because you've been giving Ukraine weapons. You've been giving other ne'er-do-wells weapons. You helped take over Syria. You used weapons in Ukraine. Even though it was minimal, you used weapons in Venezuela. So when you get to Iran, because of your need to be a one world government, to be the unipolar power, that's where you went too far. You could explain the weapons when you had to fight Soviet Russia, but now that you have no counter, you've made everybody powerful your enemies, right? So now you're running out of weaponry. And because capitalism is capitalism, right? They are going to charge you out the wazoo for these Tomahawk missiles. They tried to empty the storage. The generals told them not to do it. The former general that used to come to Africa all the time and tell us that we have a terrorism problem. We have a terrorism problem because you put them there. Because the Lion of North Africa, you murdered him, right? So even though that Trump gave you $1 trillion on his way out the door, and Biden matched it every year, $3 trillion in weaponry over the last few years, and what has the military and the military industrial complex done? They've bled you dry. When Iran sends a drone, that drone might cost $300. When they flood Israelis' air systems with drones, those drones is cheap. And they might sneak a hypersonic missile or a hypersonic drone in there, but they don't know which one to hit. And by the time they hit Tel Aviv, it's like the rockets who were supposed to intercept them, they've been wasted. They cost $1 million each. So now you have been bled dry by Iran's superior tactics. And listen, Iran can still lose. They can still lose. A couple of missteps and it could be over. But right now it's ugly, and right now we're looking at a blueprint for liberation. They used this in Iraq, a war that we supposedly won. Who won in Iraq? The United States lost $1 trillion in Iraq. Where did they win? They can't recoup it in oil. They can't recoup it in oil. It costs too much to get the oil. So they can't recoup it in oil. They wasted $1 trillion in taxpayer money to make other people trillions of dollars, to siphon that money, to create a spectacle that allows them to just siphon money from the Americans' wallets. They're doing this to their own people. They don't feel any connection to their people because it's them at the very top and the goyim at the bottom. If we give them too much problems, they'll just stick us in concentration camps. They're building them. They're building them here in swamps. They're building them in El Salvador. They'll warehouse your bitch ass, right? So you sitting here, you making all these fights, you having all these wars, and you don't even know what to be an activist for. They're leading you to ultimate disaster. To an ultimate disaster. You can't tell me that this is what you voted for. You can't tell me that this is what you wanted. And then in the meantime, you see the black neoliberals running for elections. I didn't take any money from AIPAC. Yes, you did. AIPAC knows the people are looking, so they create new organizations. And none of them will swear to defund Israel. They won't do it. They're neoliberals. Liberation has nothing to do with liberalness or whatever it is. You know? The reason why I played Prodigy at the beginning of this episode was because he represents something massive. That the minds of those who looked at the crypto news, the underground news, I won't call them conspiracy theories no more because they've all come true. The vaccines, the wars, listen, 3 times jab. I know I'm screwed. They probably, like, I would not put it beyond them the same way that they put bombs in phones. I would not put it beyond them to put kill switches in the vaccines. I don't trust. I'm watching these people do things. I don't trust them, not because I just go, I don't trust them. I'm basing this on your actions. I'm basing this on what you have done, what I'm watching you do in 4K every day. Then you justify it with lies and nonsense. You're buying all the politicians, and you want me to believe that your cause is good. No good cause needs to be bought. Most good causes can't make it through the American political system, because the American political system is designed to serve the corporate greed. That's not an exotic thing to say. That's not provocative. What the American government is doing is making you guys accomplices to their crimes. Well, you voted for him. This is what you voted for. African people, this is an opportunity. This is an opportunity for us. While they're licking their wounds, while they're seeking friends, we can form something that is even more powerful than what Iran formed. They have 90 million people, resolute in mind, strengthened by the fact that they have this history, this understanding of who they are. I copied it in my book design, because if you have an education, you understand what you're fighting for. You know how many Africans that don't understand that they're genetically connected to West Africans don't understand that they're genetically connected to Central Africans, and Central Africans are genetically connected to North Africans. Why? Because we are a people who migrate. We are a people that are always moving. We're a nomadic people. They'll say that it's sub-Saharan, like the Sahara Desert isn't something that we cross like it's nothing. We are Africans. We don't even have a true understanding of self, because we've been given their Bible, we've been given their Quran, we've been given their education, their history, their idea of history. We don't even know of their crimes. But Iran, in their isolation, realized this is the way we do it. And without their people, like the Khomeini's sons aren't partying in France with Dolce and Gabbana draped on them, and Gucci and Louis, and glasses that cost $50,000 with diamond encrusted, just partying in the West. Like, fuck the Africans. And they are African. They have no conscience. You know why? Because they've been poisoned by the West. They've been made a new version of slave consumers. I've sat with them. I've talked with them. They've been my clients. It shocks me every time. They're safe in London. They're safe in Paris. They're shopping every day. They're bored. They're fat. They're lazy. They're rich at the same time. And they've learned this way to be through Americans. And most of them, the ones I'm talking about, their children is in the West getting false educations. Then they come back and then they rule over us with that poison while they serve them. Iranians don't have that. Iranian doesn't have a bunch of disjointed states and disjointed regions where they're fighting each other, because their enemy is clear. They see him. They understand their history. They know what happened when they tried to impose a Shah on the people. They fought a revolution. Khomeini was a part of it. His arm, I don't know if you ever noticed, his arm is always kind of tucked in his robe. Africans, we can't do this. We can't continue to be this. We cannot be corrupted by capitalism. We cannot be corrupted by power. It's not for the leaders to want it. It's for the people to demand it. It is for a military-industrial complex to be spread from the tip of Algeria to the bottoms of South Africa, and for us to understand that we need each other, because they are coming. Okay? They are 39 trillion. This isn't the opportunity, but they are 39 trillion in debt. That's not Naira. That's US dollars. And when they fall, and when France falls, what do you think? What do you think happens to your CFA, Frank, when the euro bottoms out because of these illegal wars, because their media and their politicians and everyone involved then the corporations that are involved, they've led you to the wrong place. They have hoodwinked you. Iran can lose this war. That is very possible. But they punched the bully in the mouth. That's what we have to learn, to punch the bully in the mouth, to group up as a group and not allow yourself to be corrupted. They're going to come in, they're going to offer healthcare deals. They're going to come in, they're going to offer, oh, we want to have a pact with you, a security pact. What deals can you do with these people? The Iran went to the negotiating table 2 times with them, and while they were negotiating, the United States bombed them. How do you negotiate? How do you trust that person? Especially if you're black. They're not as black as we are, they're brown. And some of them are blonde and blue-eyed. They're Persians. You don't know Persian? You never lived in LA? Probably not. We got plenty of Persians. The ones that ran away with the Shah. The ones that ran away with the Shah. They still want the Shah. They in the streets protesting with the Shah, all 50 of them. But if you look at the millions, the sea of people, and they still haven't gone inside with fear of bombs about to hit them. They're all outside mourning this man, and you think you're gonna go to war with them? You think that you're gonna have the same safety with these dishonorable men that you allow to be propped up into your nations? Now is the time to be motivated. While they are licking their wounds, while they are figuring out how do we restock, they'll still have better weapons than us after the Iran war. But we need to see how the intelligence fought them, how they hid their stocks. Iran is nothing compared to what Africa could be. Now, Iran would beat any African country one-on-one. Like, they would, as they are right now, they would destroy us easily. As scattered knuckleheads, we would get beat. But if we ever formed one country, we could now be talking to them face to face without standing on a step stool to be as tall as them. We would be big. We would be one of the legs of a multipolar world, not one of the countries that the multipolar world stands on. You have a choice. In this moment in time, Africans, you have a choice. You can't be watching all these things happening. You can't be seeing, right, these people. You can't see gold and silver just raising in price. And even the country that's selling these gold and silver futures, they don't even have enough gold to back they shit. You know what country should be the richest with gold and silver? The Pan-African state. That country that was derived in the minds of Martin Delaney, derived in the minds of Kwame Nkrumah. Those are the writers of my Bible. And then I made my attempt to do this thing, to write this book, which only distills their ideas. If it's not for their stakeholder in it, these great men that I stand on their shoulders, and I proffer this to the African people as a solution for us to move forward and actually be able to deliver prosperity, sovereignty, and most importantly, safety. Iran has tunnels where all their people can go and hide when they start bombing, when the air raids go. Instead, they're in the street. They killed their leader, a revolutionary who has been fighting since the 70s, an 87-year-old man who has lived it. The IRGC stands for the Iran Revolutionary Guard. Where's our Revolutionary Guard? It's coming. I promise you it's coming. It's coming. I promise you it's coming. It's coming. Do not fall into dismay about the amounts of their money. Their money is worthless. Do not be afraid because of their weapons. Their weapons is finite. We represent an infinite group of people. Don't think that their systems, the things they design should scare you, because none of them can beat the people. That's why they don't make the businesses ignorant. They don't make the industries ignorant. They make the people ignorant so that you will never stand up to them. Why do you think the Russians educate their people the way that they do? Why do you think that the Chinese educate their people the way that they do? Because you can't promise security with stupid people. Tell me I'm wrong, Africans. Look at all the people that they proliferate, that they raise up. It's always stupid people to make the people that follow them even stupider. Like, what do you think a Trump, a MAGA is? Stupid people. Stupid people who are still stuck on racism. Stupid people who are still stuck on jingoism and have not evolved. In this new world order, they will die. We have a choice. We have a choice, Africans. We either wallow in our ignorance and die, or we reach deep down inside and find what makes us special and live, unify, be that bundle of sticks. We have to find a way to make ourselves safe. Kwame Nkrumah gave us the plan. Kwame Nkrumah gave us the plan. Martin Delaney gave us the inspiration. Malcolm X brought us the word. He was the one that went to Africa for us in the West. He went to Africa for us. Every day I have to argue with someone who's arguing with a North African because bots are being propelled showing Chinese harming Africans and Arab Africans fighting with black Africans and one mistreating the other and slavery and all that. All of the evils that have befallen Africa comes from the West. The return of slavery came from NATO and the United States bombing North Africa. The people who used to hunt those slavers were Gaddafi's people. You don't know that because you're miseducated. The most dedicated Pan-Africans have been Arabs, technically, or what you would call an Arab. Moroccans don't like it when you call them Arabs. Maybe the upper class, maybe the spoiled rich that was installed, but even the Moroccan king, he's a Pan-African. It's just the other African countries haven't offered anything. You know who's the biggest blockers? It's the black African leaders. It's Bongo. It's Ruto, right? It's Tinubu. Those are the ones that share my skin complexion, that look like me. They would prefer to the opportunity that it is to serve at the feet of the imperials. They will sign over your genetics. They will let them inject you with poison. These are the leaders that we have to remove. I think if I gave Sisi the plan, that Sisi would hear it before Ruto. You know why? Because Sisi has a gun to his head by the American government. Was he installed by them? Yes. Is he tired of this shit? Yes. I think I could implore Sisi to fight against his benefactors because he doesn't want to be known historically as the one that sold Egypt out to the Israelis. But if things stay the way that they are, he's going to have to do it. Is he a leader that I get along with? No, but I believe there is a route to dealing with him because he doesn't have the poison in him like the neoliberals do. I think I could get him before I can get Ramaphosa. Now, if we get Malema in there, and this time when he runs Pan-Africans, he needs to have a coffer. He needs to have a coffer of money that makes it where he could compete with the ANC and whatever the DA is trying to do. In order for Africa to be free, we must unite. Not spiritually, not, in some kind of, thoughtful idea like Pan-Africanism of the mind. No, a state, a land, a government. Do not have people have you bartering for things that don't matter. Land matters, money matters, opportunity matters. And usually these things are not things that are available to Africans. It will be when we unite. It will be when we have our own currency that pays for our military industrial complex, that will learn from what the Houthis are doing, that will learn from what the Iranians just did, what the Lebanese and the Hezbollah have been doing. Hezbollah is a more popular military than the Lebanese military. The two things are happening at the same time. You have this revolutionary group that is sworn to protect Lebanon, the Israelis, and then you have the government, this feckless government that was installed by the Israelis. Do you understand the problems? We don't even have those problems. Well, I'd like to have those problems. We're fighting ourselves for them, for their entertainment, so that they can suck out our wealth. It stops now. These are signs, Africans. These are signs, right? Take them, see them, open your eyes, Africans. See it for what it is and seize this opportunity. Let's start talking. Call me. I want to hear from you. Comment on it. I want to hear it from you. I could give us the roadmap to get us cranking right now. Destroy the African Union. Get rid of that. Get rid of ECOWAS. Get rid of the one in the East. Get all of them. The North African Alliance nonsense. I pray that Iran does not stop, Because if they stop, that will let them heal, that will let them go back, and that might even let them use nuclear bombs. Get them, finish the job, and let's save the world. You're gonna need us to do it. You're gonna need a partner in Africa to do it. So find the Pan-African leaders. Let's be strong. Let's be that next pole next to China, next to Russia. Russia shouldn't even be on our level. They got 400, 300, 200 million, 180 million, I don't know, something like that, some pittance of a number. We can put a military from a small percentage of 1.4 billion Africans. Let's go. 1.4 billion Africans, let's go. I only need 0.5% to form a 25 million man military. Who wants smoke with us? I only need to employ another 0.5% to work in the military industrial complex and hire and give jobs to people who are jobless, and then build a military. That's why our economy is not over. That's why the United States economy is not finished. It's not finished because the military companies are making money. The government is sending them money as fast as they can to try to recoup, because they've used everything on everybody. Now imagine if they had to fight us too. We need to be building weapons factories. We need to be digging tunnels. We need to be guaranteeing the safety of every African on earth. And if they want the smoke, we should be ready with matches. Do you understand me, my African friends? My name is Yves Darbouze, and this is the Pan-African Product.